are joined by Congresswoman Nancy Mace. Congresswoman, appreciate you making the time for us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on today. Good to be back.
You got a lot of folks' attention with your exchange with George Stephanopoulos from over the weekend. By the way, team, do we have that audio handy? If we do, I just might remind everybody of how it went. I mean, I'm just wondering, given what you experienced there, were you surprised at Stephanopoulos so aggressively ambushing you on this, given who he is? I mean, take us into what this was like to be on set and have him come after you in the way that he did and try to shame you, to use your word.
It was completely shocked and dismayed. And what made it worse is that I had my 14-year-old daughter with me on set. And so she had to sit through this too. And I had to have a very, humbling and awkward conversation with her afterwards to ask her how much of the interview did she watch and hear, sort of thing. And because when I went into the green room, they had turned the TV off. And so I was assuming they turned it off because she was in there. Her underage ears could hear everything. And I will tell you, I went in to talk about 2024. I went in to talk about Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. This is the race that everyone's talking about, and talk about the issues affecting the general election. In no way, shape, or form did ABC ever talk to me about the topic of rape, or that they would bring up my own rape and throw it back in my face and try to bully me as a rape victim, try to shame me over my support for Donald Trump as a rape victim. It really was outrageous. It was disgusting. And you can even see, if you watch the very beginning of the clip, you can see my face. Like, I winced. When I gave my speech on the floor of the State House in 2019 talking about my rape for the first time, when we were working on exceptions for rape and incest in the fetal heartbeat bill, it's very painful for me to watch that speech. I tear up a little bit. It's uncomfortable for me. It feels awkward. I know I gave the speech, and I gave it in public, but it takes a lot of courage, and it pains me. It hurts me to watch it. And the fact that they started off with this, didn't forewarn me to say, hey, are you comfortable with this? Are you okay with it? Because if I were a Democrat, you can be for sure that they would have given you a heads up if you were a Democrat woman that they were going to go there. But because I was Republican, well, no, all bets are off. We're going to bully her over this. And by the way, we're going to defame Donald Trump in the process, because everything they said about him being convicted of rape was a lie also. He's never been convicted of rape. But it was astonishing. It was outrageous. And then you combine with the fact that this guy used to cover for the Clintons. Like the hypocrisy here is astonishing.
That's what I was going to hit you with, because I bet if you had known that this was going to be the question that you're asked in real time, you would have done research, and you probably would have come back with George Stephanopoulos, as we played on the show yesterday, and say, wait a minute, it's one way you're treating me now, but when Bill Clinton was accused of all sorts of sexual improprieties, you're on film threatening the woman who might be willing to tell this story that she'll never work in Democrat politics again, and she needs to think about whether she wants to come clean, to say nothing of Joe Biden right now and the Tara Reade allegations, which are far more significant given that he was, Joe Biden, her boss, and they're actually evidence back in the 90s of her telling people and everything else associated with it. So to me, Stephanopoulos is his questioning was frankly indefensible, but also he is open to a counterattack, the likes of which is he just unaware of this, or what do you think his thought process was here?
I don't think he was thinking, and I think that, he not only doubled down, he tripled down. He went back to the well 5 or 6 times on the same thing, trying to shame me. And the irony here is I was young when Clinton was around. I was in my teens, right? And it was around the time that I was raped. That's the irony. This was 30 years ago when I was 16 and raped by a classmate of mine. And I don't think he was thinking. And when I saw him afterwards, slumped in his chair, he wouldn't look me in the eye. I made him look me in the eye, and I made him shake my hand. And the guy wouldn't even get up from his seat and wouldn't even stand up after what he did to me. And it was just disgusting. And my whole thing is, when the left tells you who they are, we need to believe them. They don't support women. Rape is bad unless you're Republican, and then we're going to bully you. That's what I took away from it. And, I've been through a lot of stuff. I've made the news a lot for different reasons, and I have very thick skin. I am very tough, and it was the Citadel, the Military College of South Carolina, that built me for tough. And all I could think about as I was leaving the studio with my daughters, that guy would not last 30 seconds at the Citadel. That guy doesn't have what it takes, and the fact that he treats women that way, the misogyny oozing out of him on set, before, during, and after the whole thing, it was really, truly shocking that this is what the left thinks is a good thing. And so just to me, it also says that Joe Biden's numbers are so bad that this is a tactic they're going to take, and it has truly backfired on them over the last 48 hours.
You know, it's long been known. We're speaking to Congresswoman Nancy Mace, and the Congresswoman has long been known, I think, by people paying attention to D.C., that Tiny George is not a particularly honorable guy, but I thought he would be at least a little bit more savvy than to come after you the way that he did. I think we all appreciate that you held your ground and refused to let him weasel out of it after he had tried the ambush. But I also saw in the 24 hours of that news cycle that the woman who accused Joe Biden of sexual assault has been speaking out and saying, hold on a second. So now we're all supposed to accept that we'll be, in your case as a member of Congress or anybody for that matter in the public eye who's supporting Donald Trump, they can be said to be supporting an accused sexual assaulter, whatever the terminology is they want to use. But Joe Biden, there's no talk of this at all in the media. Why is that?
Yeah, it's crazy to me. And we're talking about people that are complete and total hypocrites. Look at the accusations against Joe Biden. Look at the accusations for the Clintons. All these people supported the Clintons and the lie, as he was, banging the intern in the Oval Office or whatever he was doing. I mean, all this stuff. And it just, to me, is rape is bad. Unless you're Republican, unless you're against our political agenda, then it's okay. I mean, that's basically the message that they're sending to women, especially rape victims, at the end of the day. And women, and we've heard from a lot of different, not just conservatives and Republicans, but I'm hearing from 30-something suburban women, suburban moms who are offended, who maybe don't like me, because I've got an R by my name, but they're completely supportive of how I handled the situation with grace, with facts, with truth, and wouldn't let him bully me. And we've seen women coming out of the woodworks that are right of center, left of center, independent, and it is completely backfiring on them today.
Let's play that, by the way, in the event that people have not heard it. I know people are busy, may not listened on Monday, may have missed it. We're talking to Congresswoman Nancy Mace. Here is cut 31. We've got a version, shorter version of what that conversation was like, so people out there listening to us right now who have not heard it can. Let's play that.
You've endorsed Donald Trump for president.
Right.
Donald Trump has been found liable for rape by a jury. Donald Trump has been found liable for defaming the victim of that rape by a jury. It's been affirmed by a judge.
It was not a criminal court case, number one. Number two, I live with shame. And you're asking me a question about my political choices, trying to shame me as a rape victim, and I find it disgusting. And quite frankly, E. Jean Carroll's comments when she did get the judgment, joking about what she was going to buy, it makes it harder for women to come forward when they make a mockery out of rape, when they joke about it. And you're trying to shame me this morning.
I'm just asking.
And I find it offensive, and this is why women won't come forward.
Women won't come forward because they're defamed by those who perpetrate rape. Donald Trump
they are judged and they're shamed, and you're trying to shame me this morning. I think it's disgusting.
I'm not shaming you at all. I
told my story. It took me 25 years to tell my story. I was judged for it. I still get judged for it today.
I'm asking you a very simple question.
And I answered it. You're shaming me for my political choices.
Okay, I thought you killed it, as you said when you started talking with us. You had no idea this question was coming. I think you're right that in most situations where you're going to ask something of this nature, I think you would get a heads up. Hey, this is going to be a little bit more contentious maybe than a typical interview would be. We're going to touch on something that may make you very uncomfortable. So I agree with you. I think it's pretty stunning that there was no conversation about that before. I thought you killed it, but I want to circle back on something you said. George Stephanopoulos, unlike you, planned this question. He knew exactly what he was going to say, and he got it wrong. The jury actually found that Trump did not commit rape. Now, we talked about this on Monday, and I think it's significant. Sexual assault, that can be grabbing someone inappropriately, right? You absolutely were not only asked an inappropriate question in my mind, you were asked an inaccurate question despite the fact that
Correct.
he had a week to get ready for this.
Right. And I corrected him twice about that because Trump was never convicted of rape, not in a civil judgment, not in a criminal court. And he doubled down. I think that George Stephanopoulos and ABC News have opened themselves up to a defamation suit. And if I were Donald Trump, well, I hope he sues them for that, because that's not what happened. And he was entirely inaccurate. And he tripled down. He said it like 10 times in the interview. And the other thing that I want to say, too, is that George Stephanopoulos is there. Not only is he bullying me and shaming me, he's trying to mansplain rape to a rape victim. And he has no clue about the healing journey of a rape survivor, trying to bully and shame me. In fact, someone just sent me, as I'm sitting here talking to you right now, it was like the cover of Time way back when. It says Deepwater, how the president's men, and George Stephanopoulos' photo right there, how the president's men tried to hinder the Whitewater investigation. This is what this guy is. He was a Clinton groupie, Clinton sycophant, covering for the Clintons and all of the disgusting accusations that were coming against him from women. That's what this guy did. That's who he is.
Well, Congresswoman, I can tell you, as somebody who used to get ambushed, not on anything as serious as what you dealt with, but ambushed by lunatics at CNN on a regular basis. You fought through the ambush incredibly well, and we were all very proud of you. So thank you for being with us today, and stay with it.
Thank you so much. God bless.
Appreciate you.